Can you help mommy, please? Do you see the basket next to you? What should I do with this? Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Me and Pepper today are gonna try to do something with this. I am not the only one that does this, duh. Where, you know, you buy a bunch of yarn because you're making a project and you're like, oh, I will do this and this and this. And then just piles up, and then I feel like a hoarder. I like to get a lot of different options when I'm creating a new pattern so I can have fun color options and have different like yarn weights to test things out. And then what that ends up with when I'm done like making and testing patterns is this. You know that feeling when you sit down to crochet something new and you're wanting to make a new project and you're like, what could I use? What could I use? I'm never thinking about this. So this just needs to be used up. Thankfully, I do have a lot of patterns and ideas of what I could do with a bunch of chunky yarn. Several of my patterns use chunky yarn. I have patterns already on my phone that use chunky yarn, and also I can just like make stuff up as I go along. What I'm kind of thinking of making is like bags, hats, scarves, like chickens. All I know is this can't keep staring at me in the face. Stop looking at me like that. I'm also going to be in my comfy corner here for this video because that will mean that I will actually film the video. If I go sit over there, we're making one chicken and stopping. If I'm sitting in my corner, oh, I can do this for 30 hours at a time without sleeping or eating. So you're going to see me in my corner. I know the lighting sucks, but at least we have these fall trees. First is this yarn. I like this yarn. It's like very soft and it's more like blanket yarn. I think this is like the bonnet blanket yarn. I have two of these, full skein of the Lion brand Wool Ease in this brown color. This is scrap yarn from a beanie that I made. This is like a weight 5 bulky yarn. Just a chunk of it here. Like I just use scrap yarn to like test like the actual shape of the crescents, which is what this is. This was like a test crescent. So I have these. I'm gonna like take them apart and do something with them because they're just sitting around. This is a full skein of bonnet yarn. This is just like a weight 6. This is the same kind of yarn as this. It's a bulky weight 5 yarn. More Wool Ease in this color. I think this is also more Wool Ease. Damn. I like this color. This is really pretty. This is my Shayla, first of all. This is a yarn that I am obsessed with, and Michael's discontinued it. It's the Loops and Threads multi-marled yarn. This is a full skein. I don't know why it's unraveled, but a full skein of that. Here is a full skein of Loops and Threads Charisma yarn. Another Wool Ease. Another skein of this. This is like a half skein of the white. So actually this is probably the same as one of these crescents down here. So I'll have to take that into consideration. I have some red. Okay, now I'm getting to the t-shirt yarn of it all. A little bit of t-shirt yarn, but then I have a full skein of it in this. I have another giant thing of t-shirt yarn. This is from Hobby. This was like really on sale, so I just like impulse bought it, but it is like yellow t-shirt yarn. Okay, I have scraps of fleece yarn. Then I have some scraps of t-shirt yarn from Joann. I'm so sad because this was like the best t-shirt yarn that I could find. It's so soft and nice, and Joann went out of business. I like am so mad at the CEOs of Joann for like making those poor investment decisions or whatever happened. Okay, so we have the middle of I think what looks to be a flower coaster. Put that over there for now. More of this blue t-shirt yarn. And then at the bottom is a piece of Hobby candy. So this is the haul. I'm overwhelmed. So the first thing I'm gonna make is a chicken. I'm also just gonna freehand this. I don't normally stuff any of my like plushies with like yarn ends because I am like definitely a perfectionist, and so because I like sell a lot of the things that I make, I am like worried that if I stuffed like anything that I made with like those yarn ends, that it's just not like as good as like if I used actual stuffing. I've never done it before, so if you are someone that sells like crochet plushies and you stuff them with like yarn ends, let me know. Hi, I have gone up. So pretty much to make this kind of chicken, you just like make a bowl and then you fold it in half and then stitch it together, make the head. But I'm hoping that I can use up all of this yarn to make this one chicken. That would be like pretty satisfying. Making a little tail for it. Stuffing the chicken. Starting to take shape here. Here's where the head's gonna be. But I think I'll have enough stuffing for maybe another chicken. Maybe I'll make something else. One thing about me is like, I do kind of like need some variety in order to be entertained. And so I really might, like if I just, like I can't just sit here and make like 10 chickens or I'm gonna get really bored and then I'll just stop. That's how much I have left. I do need to stuff the head. So I'll have enough for probably like a smaller plushie. But I need to like have variation. I can't just like make the same thing over and over again. It like drives me nuts. I like how this color looks. I feel like this is like the color of a chicken, so I think it's cute. So we have our chicken. I want to do some kind of balaclava situation, and I have some weight 5 yarn here. I have this red, I have some blue, and then I have pink and lavender. So this is the color palette that I have. And I think I have white. Yes, I do. This, wait, where is it? Yeah, this is weight 5 yarn. I know that it is. I might do kind of like a solid granny square balaclava type of situation because that could be easily customizable and I wouldn't have to find a pattern. And I'm not gonna show my face in this clip, but I wanted to give an update. So I made the 8 granny squares that I need for the balaclava, so I'm gonna start attaching this. Remember that I had this yarn. This is weight 5 yarn, and this was like a crescent test, so I'm gonna like frog this and use this to start connecting. I don't know if this is gonna be enough to connect everything, but if not, I do have more white yarn over here, so I'm gonna do that. So remember these skeins of this wool ease that I have. I wanna make some sort of like bonnet situation. So I started with this. I don't know if this is gonna work. This is kind of giving pot holder, but I don't know. I'm just gonna try to like continue this around and around to see if I can make some kind of bonnet. I'm gonna keep going and crocheting today while I don't feel good, and I'll come back and show you what I end up with. I made this balaclava, a bonnet type situation, and the top is ribbed and then turn around. The back is like all ribbed and the ribbing connects like in a straight line to the scarf. Pepper, do you like the new bonnet? Do you like it?
She loves it.
Do you think Daddy looks nice in it? Okay, so I think what it needs is like a little bit of like an outline. I think I'm gonna do this blue for an outline. It's not the same yarn weight, but I don't think it's gonna matter. But, oh, look at this. Look at these two. Oh. So I think the blue would look really nice with the brown. What do you think, Pepper? Okay, I wanted to film a little update for you all. As you can see, the big mess behind me is still the pile, so I've made a little bit of progress, but let me show you what I've made so far. So the first thing is this chicken. I mean, come on, I love her. But you make sure you don't look at her in those eyes. Don't do that. This chicken, that one is its mother. The next thing I made, as you saw my husband modeling, is this bonnet little situation here. I think this turned out really cute. Put it on, and then this extends pretty long so that you can like wrap it around here. I was trying to sort of make like the ribbing continue on into the scarf, which I think ended up looking really cute. Let me know if anybody's interested in like a pattern for this. Maybe not, but I think this turned out really cute. This used obviously negligible amounts of the red and the yellow here, but I did use up one ball of that Bernat yarn, but I used up most of that wool ease like brown yarn, and then I just used a little bit more of the blue color here. So these aren't fully used up yet, but I used a pretty significant amount. The next thing I made is this like patchwork granny square balaclava. I think this turned out really cute. I really like the colors here. Let me put it on and show you. Okay, so here she is in all of her glory. I love the patchwork. Let me turn around. But don't you look at the back of my head. I think this is really cute. Nice and warm for the winter. I like to make these where they will kind of like cover you here a little bit, like in your mouth and nose area, or you can kind of like push it down a little bit and have your whole face out, but choose your own adventure there. But yeah, so as far as what yarn, I did use up all of this pink yarn, which was exciting, and then made some dents into the blue and red, and then I have a little bit left of this like muted purple grayish kind of color, and then the white that's going around here was one of those crescents, and I used almost all of this crescent. So we're working the way through the yarn. Okay, so I just kind of sat down in one sitting and made this beanie. It's hard to see because it's black, but it is just like a classic ribbed beanie, my beanie pattern. So I stitched up the side here. Now I'm just gonna close this hole. You literally can't see. Let me put it on. You can see it a little bit better if I have it on. But yay, cute. Just a classic nice black beanie, and I used up a whole skein of yarn for it. Current pile, chicken, hat, balaclava, bonnet. And next, let me talk you through what I'm thinking for the rest of this yarn. I have 2 and a little bit of these. This is woolly, super bulky yarn, and it's this really cute, like multicolor pink. There's some teal and peach in here. It's really pretty. I think I want to make this into a scarf, but I also think that if I'm going to make it into a scarf, I should use this really pretty yarn that I have like plenty of to make like a reel / TikTok, which I can't make while I'm sitting here borderline in the dark. So I think I'm gonna wait until the morning. Okay, so I'm thinking I want to make some kind of bag, but obviously I have to like change colors, and I don't want to weave in a bunch of ends. So I was thinking, you know that like carry along checkerboard kind of pattern? I'm wondering if I could do something like that. Okay, I've pivoted here, and I'm making this like striped thing. I think I'm gonna like fold this in half to make a bag. This was the big mess of purple, so I wound that up into a ball. And then if you remember, I had this other crescent, so I'm unwinding this as I go. So I'm using up these scrap crescents to make this little stripe thing, but I'm gonna keep going. I'll keep you updated as I go. Hi, little update for you all. Also, I just got done taking pictures of this sweater. It's called the like Scrumper sweater by Rome Designs. I was a pattern tester for this. Anyway, so I just got back taking pics, but I wanted to show you an update on what I've been making. So I have this little like rectangle situation, and I think what I'm gonna do is like fold it in half, and then this is gonna be like the bag, and then I'm gonna make a strap. It's gonna be kind of like a longer bag, I think. If it ends up being too long, I'll just like take a row out or something, but I think this looks like cute and like intentionally random is like what I was going for. So we have this. Okay, so this is what I have left. One might think, oh, it looks like you haven't made anything because the basket's still full, but it was piled in a dome before, so something is at least happening. I have 2 of these. I'm gonna make a scarf. And then the rest of this is just like kind of like scraps. What I do have like full skeins of is this t-shirt yarn, so I'm gonna make something with this at some point. I am collecting a pile of like actual scraps, and then at the end we'll do something with these. So like none of this is gonna go to waste or like in the trash or in my scrap. My actual scrap pile, I'm gonna like make use of all of this here. I don't know where the other one of this is, but I have 2 of these. So that's my next plan. I'm gonna make a scarf out of this yarn. And then with the rest of this, these like scraps, that's like half skeins, we're just gonna figure it out. I believe, okay, so I have this, And then I want the strap to go here. And I think I want the strap to be brown and like cream white stripes. So we'll see how that goes and how much that uses up. So plan strap, scarf, and then we'll figure out something else to do with the rest of this. So I did end up making a scarf. I just sat here and made a scarf with this yarn. I filmed another video for it that's going to be on my Instagram and TikTok, and now I am using up this little bit of t-shirt yarn that I have to crochet a cute little border around the scarf. I think that gives it a little something more than just kind of like the plain scarf. Gives it a little pop. So we're using up yarn. This is all that I have left from those 2.5 skeins. So I'm gonna figure out something to do with this. And I'm thinking I'll be able to use up this little bit of this like periwinkle t-shirt yarn, but we will see. One of my favorite things to make things like in bulk with is big chunky yarn like this. So especially if you are trying to make things for the holidays, but you don't want to spend like 40 hours on each item, doing something like this can be a really good way to give someone a handmade gift. It's affordable because all you're buying is the yarn, and it ends up looking really cute. I think that I've made this scarf in like maybe a little over an hour, so I know I'm really fast at crocheting. So if you're a beginner and you dedicated a couple of hours to this, you could definitely get it done in a day. Okay, I'm gonna keep going and going and going until I put this border around the scarf, and I'll show you the final product. I ran out of yarn, yay! I literally have from here to here, like what, 20 or 30 single crochets, and I ran out of yarn. I do really love this periwinkle border. I think it makes it look really cute. I do have a potential solution. So I do have this, which is a little plant pot that I made for this fake plant. So I could frog this, use some of this to finish off the scarf, and then I have this pink t-shirt yarn that I could use to make another plant pot cover for this, and then that's something to do with the pink that I have. So I'm gonna do that. Also, I did a really good job at hiding my seam. I have no idea where this begins. I'm not gonna unravel the whole thing because I don't think I'm gonna need all of this, so I might just make the second half of this pink. Okay, the scarf is all finished. Let me show you a little up close of what this looks like. So this is what it looks like. I think it turned out so cute. I love the like kind of mesh design and the periwinkle border. Shout out to that pot for giving me some extra yarn. Let me try it on. Doesn't exactly match with my sweater, but that's okay. How cute. I love this. Definitely gonna either give this as a gift or sell it to somebody else to give as a gift, but either way, I think this turned out so cute. And yarn check, I have this much left of the pot, so I'm gonna use this to make kind of like a little half and half plant pot situation. But yeah, I'm gonna keep going. Tonight while I'm hanging out, I'm gonna try to finish the strap for this, so I'll show you where I get with that tomorrow and figure something out to do with these little half skeins, but we'll see. First, I made this little star ornament that I think is cute. It does have a little tie on it. I haven't put a ribbon on this one yet, but this is like a double stuffed ornament. Reminds me of like an Uncrustable. And like I said, I was gonna redo this pot, and I honestly prefer how this looks with the pink and the periwinkle colors. I was able to use up all of this pink t-shirt yarn, all of this yarn, and then this is how much I have left of this color. The pile's getting much smaller. I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with all of this t-shirt yarn, but I'm thinking I might make a bag. We'll see. This, I only have one of these, and I really think this just needs to be made into a beanie. So with some of these like wool ease scraps, I made a head warmer that I just need to stitch closed. Yeah, I think that this turned out really cute. I love how the stripes feel like kind of random, and how it is shaped. I also think like the cinched piece like really adds something, and there's not really many holes in this, so you can really put a lot of stuff in it. So I'm pleasantly surprised with how this turned out. What a fun way to use up yarn scraps. I am really starting to get somewhere now. I made a bag with these. I'll show you these in the morning with good lighting. And look how empty the basket is getting. So I think I'm just gonna make a basket. And then I'll use up some of my yarn scraps and just try to make like a little scrappy look, but I'll keep you updated. This is me in a voiceover telling you I started to make the basket and I absolutely hated it. It was flopping in places it shouldn't be flopping, and it was not giving what it needed to give, so I took the whole thing apart. All right, so it's daylight. I wanted to show you a little bit of the pile that I have going on here in the basket. So I took it apart, as you saw, and this is now what I have. It was a little bit too floppy in the middle. Like I had done like a thinner yarn and didn't double it up, so it was just got floppy, and I also didn't really like the way that the colors were looking, so we're redoing it. I think that the secret here is I need to do a little bit of like smaller sections, because I think that makes it look more intentionally scrappy rather than just like a couple random rows that just didn't look right. This is the thing with scrap projects though, is that like they have to be very intentionally put together, or else it just looks like very random and ugly. Some scrap projects serve that purpose of, it's just put all the scraps together, it doesn't matter what it looks like, this just serves a purpose. I am not that way, and so I need this to look cute. We'll see how this goes, but I'm not frogging this again, so it's this time or it's just gonna look the way that it looks. Okay, such a difference, right? I'm so happy with how this turned out. I really, really like this. Somehow this has turned into like, oh, let me use up my scraps to like, this is one of my favorite like things that I've made. I ended up pulling more scraps from different places, so this has just turned into like my ultimate like scrap buster project, but I'll show you tomorrow in better lighting. But I love this. But now I have still all of these scraps. I pulled, this is like most of like the super bulky and bulky weight scraps that I have. So I think I'm gonna break these up into like colors now, because this is very much like all the different colors mixed, and I like intentionally, you know, chose different colors to go different places so it would look right. But with this, I don't really have enough to make another one of these without it like looking kind of bad. But I'm gonna like break these up into colors and make like maybe a little small baskets. That's the plan now. But if I do something else, of course, I will let you know. This is what I have left. So what I have made here is I made this little bowl, I don't know, a little trinket bowl. And then I made this like iPad / like laptop sleeve. I'm showing it poorly. I'm gonna show all of this in better lighting at some point, but I used up this teal and then this like aqua t-shirt yarn to make like a little iPad sleeve. Okay, so when I was making that really colorful basket, I brought some extra yarn scraps in, and I've decided that I'm gonna take out all of the yarn scraps in here like this that are not like super bulky or bulky weight yarn. I just added this in for some like color, but I'm like, this is not the project that I'm doing. I need to like rein it in a little bit. Okay, genuinely that's it. And I'm gonna hopefully get through this tonight. I want this to be done. I'm gonna say I'm like checking out a little bit here. I want this to be done. Okay, I finished another ear warmer. This is the length that I like them. I think these are also the same color, and this just goes to show you how different dye batches can look. This one's like more warm, and this one's a little bit more like muted and cool, so interesting here. But yeah, here's 2 ear warmers. I really like making these, and I'm wondering if this is enough for me to make another ear warmer. I feel like this is enough yarn, right? So I might take this apart and make another ear warmer, because these are really like fun for me to make and not annoying. I might just be pounding out ear warmers here, because I feel like those sell pretty well in the winter. And I love this stitch, how it looks like knit, but it's just actually like slip stitch back loop. So cute. So I think we might try to pump out some ear warmers here, and then I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. All right, so I made 5 ear warmers, and then I just made this cute little ornament out of the last bits of yarn that I have. I used up the yarn for these, and then this is what I have. So I'm gonna keep making like little things, ornaments, maybe like a few coasters, and then I'm finally done with this yarn, and then I just have this. I ended up making these garlands out of the last red and white yarn, and I'm just gonna keep this for myself as Christmas decorations. And the last thing I'm gonna make with this yarn, last thing in the basket, is gonna be, it's like a water bottle bag. I'm gonna use this as a base. I feel like this is a common shape and size of a water bottle, so we're gonna make a fun little yellow water bottle bag. Okay, I was able to use up all of the yarn in the basket. So I ended up with this and this. So I started off with one heaping basket, ended up with a literal basket, and then this is all full. So let me show you what I made. So first is this little chicken. This was like my first idea, and oh, we have a visitor. This was like the first thing I think I made, and I love this chicken. Okay, I'm not gonna go in order of like how I made things, but next is this cutie little bag. Cute. This is the DUSK bag by Loosends. Next, I made an iPad sleeve. This was like when I was getting to the end and like, what do I do with this stuff? And I was like, iPad sleeve, laptop sleeve. So yeah, I think it's really cute though. I did a little like border at the top, which I think made it look really pretty. So I'm gonna carry around my iPad in this for when I'm being an iPad baby. I had made a little tutorial video on this, so look at my Instagram or TikTok if you want to see how to make this, but made this really pretty scarf. I'm reluctantly going to probably sell this because I have so many scarves, but I love the colors of this. I think this turned out so pretty. Next we have, I need to weave in the ends of this, but a laptop sleeve. This fits my laptop. So I'm gonna use this. I need to weave in some of the ends here, so don't mind the ends, but I have a little basket, a little bowl. I thought this was really cute. I might put this somewhere to put little trinkets in, like jewelry or something. A bowl. I like needed some of this yarn. This was originally all blue, but then I put the pink on top and I was able to use up some of the pink yarn to finish this. So this counts. I made 3 ornaments. This one already has the tie on it. And then these 2 I need to put ribbon on top, but cutie little ornaments. And then I was able to make some garlands. These are just for probably my Christmas tree, but this is really easy to do. You just kind of make like a bobble stitch over and over and over and over again, separated by a chain, but I thought these were really pretty. Next and last is this water bottle holder. I ran out of yarn, so I'm gonna have to like do something else, but I made half of a water bottle holder. We'll do like a little color blocking moment and figure this out at some point, but that's for a different version of me. This might be my favorite thing that I made, which is this bag. It's this cutie little slouchy bag. I am obsessed with this and am like wondering about making this like a pattern because I think the shape of this is so cool. So I really love this. Next is, I just made a black beanie with my beanie pattern. I made this like multicolored beanie with my beanie pattern. A balaclava. I'm not gonna put this on right now because I have my hair in a ponytail, but balaclava with some leftover granny squares. I really like the way that this looks, and when it's on, I like that you can see all the colors from the front. Okay, this is also might be one of my favorite items. I think this turned out really cute. I'm gonna try to put this on without messing up my hair, but this is like a little hood for when it's cold. I think this is so cute. I'm also reluctantly gonna sell this because I like don't actually need this, but it's so pretty, so cute. Oh yeah, another little ornament, granny square, cute. And then last but certainly not least, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ear warmers. This was nice just to kind of like quickly do a little project when I had like a little bit left of each yarn, but yeah, I think these turned out cute. Nice little ear warmer. My Shayla, I love this. I will never get rid of this. Another Forest Family heirloom. Just going down my line. This scrappy basket. As you saw, I took this apart and then redid it because it was like not looking as cute as I wanted it to. So then I did it again and intentionally did the colors in a much more planned out way. And I think that this turned out so cute. I love this. This is gonna be like a decoration. This is the thing about scrap projects, is that when you see a cute like scrap project like this on Pinterest, it was not scrap random. Oh, let me just pull my scrap yarns and pin it together. No, this was very intentional. I like pulled other yarns from not even this pile. I had like other scrap yarns in different weights that I like doubled or tripled up to do this. Like these scrap projects that you see are very intentional. So if your scraps aren't perfectly lining up to be this like cute, maximalist, cutie little basket, yeah, mine either. Like you have to really plan it out. So just wanted to like normalize that, but I love this. I think this is so pretty. I'm debating on what to do with it. I might put like a plant in here. I have like a Monstera plant that's like huge and the pot is pretty big, and I feel like this might be really cute. But anyway, okay, well, thank you so much for watching this video of me turning this giant basket of yarn into all of this. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you want to see more videos like this from me, let me know. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.